What is up, you guys? My name is Marley from the Ninja Bays, and today we are going to be talking about those things that you've been dreading, you're excited about, you're annoyed about, and you're confused about, and that is AB 390 and AB 1824. So, before we start this video again, guys, I've done a couple other videos on this. I just want to say that I've done a lot more research now. I'm excited to talk about it, but at the same time, I'm not a lawyer. This is my interpretation of the law. I'm starting to see different things, but the reason why I want to talk about it is because I am a car enthusiast in the state of California, and I don't want to live in a state where if there are laws that affect me, it's a gray area. I want everything to be clear, it needs to be fair, and it needs to just be clear. And I really am starting to see that there are a lot of things in our law that are very confusing, there are loopholes that officers can get through, that the court can get through, loopholes that we can get through, but it's just, it's so much drama. It's ridiculous that there's so much drama and that it just needs to be clarified. That's it. So that there's not drama, that we know exactly what we can and cannot do. So, let me get into it really quick. Just brief explanation of AB 1824. It is a bill that was by an assembly, a budget, that amended a particular vehicle section called Section 40610 that added two violation codes, vehicle codes, into that section as a non-correctable ticket. That's what it did. So just to kind of really quick simplify. If you got a ticket for 27150 or 27151, it was originally a corrected ticket. Then AB 1824 made it into a mandatory fine. And now we have this new magical number called 390 that made those vehicle codes change back into a correctable ticket. If you're following me, awesome. If there's too many numbers, I feel you, because I'm struggling my dang self. But I'm going to try and put visuals so we can all see this, because it's hectic, man. There's so many freaking codes, it's ridiculous. So again, like I said, AB 390 came in to take those two vehicle codes that were in the section of non-correctable right back out of it. So in all actuality, 390 did change AB 1824. If you've been looking on the internet, that you've seen that AB 390 passed, which is true and not true. It did pass the first part of it, which was the first committee. Now it has to go to another committee, and those guys are the big players. Like, it was great that it passed the first one with flying colors, but these are the ones that are actually a little bit more influential. So we're still waiting on that. I personally think it's going to pass. And the reason why I think it's going to pass is because it doesn't necessarily change the fact that you're going to get out of a ticket. That's what I'm like. It's kind of like it's a band-aid solution. It's to make everybody happy, and you're still gonna get, you still could possibly get in trouble. And I want to explain why. And I've already talked about this before. Me personally, guys, I think this is a great step. Getting AB 1824, repealed, adding 390. I think that's fantastic, but I don't think it gets to the root of the issue, which is vehicle code 27151 and vehicle code 27150, and now a new section that I just found, which is 40610, particularly section B. Okay, now let me get into why I think this. There's so many numbers, it's so annoying. All right, now let me get into why I think this. Let me start with section 40610, okay? AB 1824 was an amendment to that. And what it did, it added those vehicle codes in there, so now it's a non-correctable ticket. AB 390 is going to remove it. But there are still some things in this section that could still magically get you a mandatory fine. Now, let me show you. In section B, 1, you have evidence of fraud or persistent neglect. Let me give you an example. This is an opinion or just an example of how they could kind of get you with this. Evidence of fraud. Let's say an officer asked if you're stock, you lied, and he gets underneath your car and he goes, "These are Corsas, this is not stock, you lied to me." they now have the ability to give you a mandatory fine. It won't be a corrected ticket. If they think persistent neglect. So as an example, you've gotten 2 tickets with some sort of exhaust violation. That could be considered persistent neglect because they think you're not actually fixing the problem. There are other things in here like the violation presents an immediate safety hazard. What the heck does that mean? You know, the violation cited, the violator does not agree to or cannot or promptly correct the violation. So what's weird to me is if they want to give you a corrected ticket, right? And this is again, these are what ifs. If you said to an officer, I can't afford this ticket, right? Because this is not a fun ticket. Especially if you get things added on top, it's not a good time. It's expensive. If you're like, I can't pay this ticket, they could go, oh, you can't? Well, the violator just said that he cannot correct the violation, so I'm now gonna make it mandatory. Like, what kind of sense does that make? Like, I don't get it. It's crazy. It's so weird to me. Like, this stuff is there so they can catch you if they need to. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane to me. Okay, so that's just one section that's like, oh, blah. Okay, that sucks. So let's go back over to the deepest, darkest issue that keeps getting Band-Aid solutions, and it's irritating me because it needs to change. It just needs to change. And that is vehicle code 27151 and 27150. Let's start with the first one, which is 27150. I will read it out loud. Every motor vehicle subject to registration shall at all times be equipped with an adequate muffler in constant operation and properly maintained to prevent any excessive or unusual noise. And no muffler or exhaust system shall be equipped with a cutout, bypass, or similar device. There are so many things wrong with this, it's not even funny. Just let's start with the ending of this. Cutout, bypass, or similar device. Do you know how many OEM vehicles already have this stuff on here that are being sold in the state of California? I'll give you a prime example. Shelbys, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, literally anything that says active exhaust or street exhaust, sport exhaust, literally anything. Those are cutouts, or not, those are bypass, not cutouts. Those are bypass modes. Those are on OEM. The law does not specify unless it's OEM. So, if an officer, and I'm telling you, if an officer's just not having a good day, he sees your stock ass Shelby and he goes, you know what? I could just give you a ticket. You got a ticket. Sure, it's correctable, but guys, you might get state refed. You may end up having to get a lawyer. You may decide to just pay the fine. It's a point on your license. It's hectic. It's not fair if you have an OEM vehicle that you're just like, whatever, but it's technically illegal. The law needs to change. It was written in the 50s, guys. Cars have changed so much in the past, I can't believe I'm saying this, 70 years since this law was written. We need to change that. That's the issue. I'm excited that we got AB 390 to change AB 1824, but there's still so many loopholes where it's great, but you still could get the ticket. So again, with 27150, let me take it back to another big issue of this, and that is to prevent any excessive or unusual noise. It doesn't specify what the heck excessive even means. Like, it could be it's literally up to an officer's discretion. It literally could be how I feel about today and how I feel about your car. You know what I mean? And I don't want to ever think ill of any officers or anything along those lines, but we are all still human beings. I know when I see someone driving around a Lamborghini, I get a little bit jealous. And if I have to pull you over, that's why I'm not an officer, just straight up. I'll give you a ticket because I want your car. No, I'm just kidding. But you see what I mean? It's literally feelings. It's literally how you feel that day. That Prius might not be excessive today, but it could be tomorrow. You just don't know. It's crazy, guys. It's the problem. That's the real problem. We got to stop dancing around these little things. That's the problem, is these vehicle codes. The other thing, we've said this so many times before, with vehicle code 27151, it's talking about the exhaust noise limit, which is 95 decibels. Now again, this thing was written in 1959. You got to think about what cars were coming out in the 50s. Cars that didn't have Cadillac converters. Cadillac? I said Cadillac. Catalytic converters. Big block, big, massive engines on steel, you know, because it had to move these heavy cars. Engines that were producing tops, maybe 140 horsepower. Now think about cars today, right? I'm telling you guys right now, I went to a racetrack. I saw stock demons racing. There's no way in hell that those cars stock meet the 95 decibel limit. There's no way. We've tested stock Chargers. And I'm talking specifically about sports cars, especially in California. There is a lot of sports cars, but those are the ones that I feel like are in trouble, and those are the sports cars. We've tested stock Roushes, stock Chargers. I've seen tests on stock Ferraris. They don't pass. Again, the law was written almost 70 years ago. Things have changed. It needs to be updated. It needs to be clarified. Things shouldn't be based on feelings. It needs to be fair, clear, and precise. And with that said, guys, I'm hoping, I want to leave the question to you guys. Like, what do you genuinely think about this? Am I making, it's a question I had to ask myself. Oops, I touched the mic. It's a question that I had to ask myself. Am I making a bigger deal out of this than I should be? It's something that I personally have been struggling with. And on one hand, I say yes, because I really don't believe cops are out to get everybody. But on the other hand, I feel like if I have to deal with this situation, it needs to be clear and it needs to be fair, and not just for a consumer or just the people living in the state. It makes officers' jobs a lot easier as well. So that way, you know, we don't have to deal with the court or have to settle things in court. It's just clear, boom, 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 we're good. So I want you guys to tell me if I'm crazy, if I'm thinking too much about it, or if you guys have any ideas, or what would you like to see the vehicle codes change to? I mean, I'd love to just have a discussion with you guys, and that's that. So thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was a really long talk, and it was probably hella confusing, so I'm going to do my best to, on the side here, have graphics. I also put all my sources down below that you're more than welcome to read, and you should read. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I also want to take, I'm sorry, I'm going to keep talking. I want to also take 1 second to say thank you guys so much. The car community, it wasn't just California. I saw communities out of our country that were stepping up, signing the petition, making a racket to try and get things changed. And it was beautiful, guys. I'm not just saying that to be like, oh, she's all emotional. It was genuinely one of the most beautiful things I've seen happen in this car community in a long, long time. So again, guys, thank you guys so much. Nobody could have done anything without the entire community, and we need to make that really clear. This was a community effort. This was not a single person. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time, and I'm praying that 390 passes. Bye.